Welcome to Meet the GIMP episode 23. My name is Rolf Steinert and I'm recording this in Bremen, northern Germany. Today I want to talk about color and especially about the foreground-background color selection dialog. But for understanding these sliders and different methods of selecting a color, you have to understand a bit what color is. I can tell you about this only in a very quick and shallow way, but Wikipedia has a lot about it, and if you are really interested, look at the stuff in Wikipedia. Color is a property of light, and light is a tiny part of the electromagnetic spectrum. You see it here, the electromagnetic spectrum. It's all the same stuff, electromagnetic waves, and they contain such stuff as radio waves or microwaves that you use to heat your dinner or that are used in mobile phones, infrared like in remote control or in the heater, the visible light, and then ultraviolet that you love to get a little bit brown skin and you hate for giving you cancer and sunburns, and then the stuff you definitely don't want in your surroundings, X-rays and gamma rays. And this tiny part here is the visible spectrum. So this is our light. And somehow we have to produce such colors for using them in computers and screens and television and films and so on. And mostly today it's done by mixing up red, green and blue. Here you see the computer spectrum, computer generated spectrum. You see here red, strong red gives red, and red goes down, green goes up in the intensity, goes down, and here comes blue, and here red again, and now you get this ribbon here, this, well, let's call it a rainbow or so, a spectrum. I just said that the computer can mix out of red, green and blue all the colors that we can see, and that's not quite right. These are here all colors that we can see. Well, most people can't see really this edge and this edge here, but it's this area here covers all colors that humans can see. And this triangle here is the area of these colors that the sRGB standard can show on your screen. This is not very much. Well, there's a different standard, Adobe RGB, which is a bit larger here, especially I think in this area here, and for that it can cover more colors. But if you print your image on paper, you get a triangle that sits well in here. That's the reason for getting these unsatisfactory results if you are looking at your monitor and think, oh, what wonderful colors, and put them on paper and the intensity isn't there, and some colors aren't also there. If you go over to Joel's website, there's a lot about color calibration. We can mix all the colors out of red, green and blue, all the colors that we can use in the computer and the digital photography. But well, it is very difficult for a human to define a color by a mixture of red, green and blue. And for that a lot of other color spaces have been developed, and one of the most used is the HSL and HSV color space. And here the colors are oriented in a way that is more suitable for a human eye. they have three properties, as in red, green and blue, but here the properties are the hue. Well, that's basically the color. Going in a circle, and therefore this here is 0, named in degrees of a circle, 0 to 360. And then there is the saturation, going from white to full saturated, or from 0 to 100%. And at last we have the value, going from white to black. And here we have from black to white, so value going from black to white. And with these three coordinates we can define every point in this color space here, called color space because it's defined by three coordinates. And this is one way I can set a color in the GIMP. And now let's go into the GIMP. So how does all this stuff translate to working with GIMP? Well, we have here the foreground, background, color dialog. And you have here 6 different ways to select colors. And let's start with the mathematical way. And here we have sliders. H, S, V, R, G, B. Well, hue, saturation, value, red, green, blue. And here the selected color, let me select here the foreground color, black. You see black has hue 0, saturation 0, value 0, red, green, blue, all are 0. And now I'm twisting here the hue, and you see nothing changes. Black is always black because the value is 0. And I can pull up the value now and I get different gray tones. I can change the saturation while value is 0 and nothing happens. Going down again. And you see here, while I do this, the other slider backgrounds here change a bit. And here you can play. Nothing happens, but I go here and now this is blue here, kind of blue, and so I can switch through this here. So value, if you want to select a color by the HSV system, just pull the saturation and value up and you get here the rainbow, which I told just about, through the through the full circle of hue. Circle because this is divided into 360 degrees. It's represented as a circle, and I'll show you the circle in a second. So here you see the sliders for red, green and blue going up and down in a very strange way, and well, I think it's much more easy to select here the color I want to have and then adjust the saturation. I don't want to have this strong color, I want a softer color, and then to go, well, I want it to have it darker, and to mix a color up instead of saying I want to have this amount of red and this amount of green and this amount of blue. So hue, saturation, value, not very easy to understand, but a good way to select colors. I'm using this dialog only when I have to set a specific color, let's say for compensating or so, when I am in need to set the numbers right. Let's say I want to have exactly medium gray. Then I go here and pull the value up to 50. Value is divided between 0% and 100%, or here 127 would be the right amount here with RGB. This is now exactly medium gray. You see it here. This small difference just was rounding errors. So let's look at the other dialogues. Let me show you this one here. I love this one. This is based also on the HSV color model, and you first select here the color you want to have on the circle, and then you select here the value and the saturation. So select a color, a hue, and then you get here the full area. This all has the same hue, but different values and different saturation. A very intuitive and good tool for selecting colors. Similar is this one here. Here you have a strip to select, in this case, a hue, and you get the same thing as here, and all the colors that are here in this triangle are also here in this square. And now you can select your color here from this area, or you can change the hue here and select your new color. But here you can switch also to saturation. And now you set here the saturation and select here the combination of value sliding this way and hue sliding this way. Or you can set the value. Let's say I want to have stronger colors here, and now I can set the value between so I can change the saturation this way and the hue this way, and it works equally for red and green and blue. And here I can change blue, the amount of blue in my colors I want to have, and then the amount of red and green in the other two colors in this way. This is very powerful dialogue, but I think this is more intuitive. This is the one for the kids. No, not really. This is a watercolor mix-up, and here this slider adjusts the intensity of tipping into the color pots. These are the different color pots, not infinite number, but a very high number of colors you can choose from. And this is your resulting color, and you start by selecting a basic color. Let's say here this yellow. And now I can add a bit of blue to this, and a bit of red, and as in the art lessons at school, I end up with something very muddy. So this is not used by me very often. This here shows the active palette, and you can set the palette somewhere else. It's only useful for graphic designing, for web and so on. These are the basic colors used in web design, I think. I never have done much with this. And one thing is still to cover: the printer colors here. This is useful only for professional printers, I think. Printers use cyan, magenta and yellow instead of red, green and blue, and that is because they subtract color. Your monitor shows here red, green and blue, and this adds up to white. And with printing, I would show there no cyan, no magenta and no yellow, and these that's basically the white paper. And for black, I would mix up cyan, magenta and yellow, and this happens with cheaper printers. If your black cartridge runs out and to your horror you have printed the 255 page manual with emptying your ink, your color ink. The cyan subtracts from the light. Oh no, I'm not really sure. Red and blue, red and green, I don't know. You have to look that up. I'm too lazy now to look that up. These colors, these dyes subtract from light, and this reflects only cyan. And by mixing up them, you can subtract more and more from the light, and getting well, all the colors you want. No, not all the colors you want. All the colors you can print. The gamut, the amount of the area in the visible color space that we could see can't be printed, and so, well, your result varies. And here is a fourth slider. This is K, black, not B, to avoid mismatch with blue, but K, black. And when I click here, and back then here, you see what has happened. Perhaps you have to go back a bit, and look again at this. This color hasn't changed, but the sliders have changed. The cyan slider has gone down, and the K slider has gone up. Oh, well, let's repeat that. Let me put this here to 40, and this to 80, and this to 20. So now 20, 80, 40, and switching. Now we have here 25, 26, and 20 black. So you see here, the color hasn't changed, but the amount of black, or the mixture of cyan, magenta and yellow that has been before in the image, has been reduced to magenta, yellow and black. Black ink is for one part cheaper. That's for the professional printers with the big printing engines, and it's really black. That's for the aesthetic point here, instead of this mucky mixture of cyan, magenta and yellow. So I doubt that you'll use this very often. Okay, we have covered all the 6 dialogues. What's left is the stuff that always stays the same. And these are here these 2 color swaps. Let's look at this one here. And this is a foreground color, this is a background color. Just click on it, and you can choose set the color here. A nice thing about these color swaps is you can just pull them over into your image, and so fill the image or fill a selection with this color. You can also have here in the middle this color swaps. You just select File, Preferences here, and then Tool Options, Toolbox. And here you can show foreground and background color, and even the brush and the active image. I'll switch this off afterwards, because it just takes too much space in my recording setup here. So, back to this here, these color swaps. Then there is a little exchange icon here, where I can exchange the foreground and background color. The same can be done by pressing the key X. This here is setting foreign background color to black and white to get rid of the stuff you have mixed up. This is a nice new feature. Just click on it. It's a color picker, and you can choose any color you want from your screen, even your background from the screen, or something from a website or so. And lastly, in this field here, you see the hex code that is used in HTML and a lot of other stuff to define colors. First 2 digits: red, green and blue. And when I change the color, you see here how the stuff changes, and I can also just type the numbers in and get the color. You can type in the hex code and get the color, or you can even type in a color name. You see them here, all the color name with L, lawn green. This is lawn green. So this was the color dialog in full detail. I think I've talked way too much. Just before saying goodbye, I want to point you to the meetthegimp.org photo group at 23. 23 is image hoster, a bit like Flickr, but located here in Europe and not censoring the access from Germany here. And we are now so successful there. We are on the top side here from the photo groups, popular photo groups. You find Meet the GIMP in a very prominent position here. So let's go to Meet the GIMP, and here you see some of the pictures that have come in the last time. That's 97 pictures already, and some of them are for the Panorama Challenge. And you have 1 week, no, if you see this, not 1 week left. On the weekend, on the next weekend, around December 15, I'll have a guest who picks a number, and with this random number I'll determine which of these entries is the winner of the 23 Plus membership. And you see here there are also other images. I want to point you to some of them. This here is made by Joseph, the guy who made this very fine presentation about Hugin, the Panorama software. This is made with Inkscape, project which shares a lot of code with GIMP, and made after a tutorial at screencasters.heathenx.org. I want to point you to them. They have very good tutorials about Inkscape, and I learned from them a bit about recording this show here. There are other people exploring stuff. This, for example, by Mass.Dom. He explores how to get rid of noise. I'll cover that, but he is ahead of me, and I'll ask him how to do this with a plugin named Gray Steration. You see here, this is noisy, this is not. This has detail, this has less detail, and so you have always a trade-off. There is also a very good conversations area here, which, something new there. Very active is Linux workflow and renaming. How do you get your images into a Linux computer, and how do you organize them there? And it's a thing where I can learn a lot about it. And Ping is a thread about the members of this here. You see 16, and the last one has replied 14 minutes ago. I haven't read that. So come to 23. The address is 23hq.com. You find the link to this at meetthegimp.org on the sidebar. Just join this group here. It's free, and you can even win Plus membership. With the free membership, you can add 30 pictures a month, I think, and have, well, with the Plus membership, you have some perks added: unlimited images and looking at images in full scale and so on. Get a member at meetthegimp.org, photo group in 23HQ. So the last thing I have to say is goodbye.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the podosphere. Photocastnetwork.com